Hi everyone, welcome to Sacred Journey with Varin. I am Varin Gill and this is my channel. I do various things. I am a psycho-spiritual healer, a Vedic astrologer, tarot reader, an energy healer. My personal passion is goddess wisdom, the wisdom of the feminine that sits within women, and I do whatever I can to help women go back to being who they really are, the women that they really are. I have a website. You can check out all my details below. And if you like this video, please remember to like, subscribe, and comment and share should it call out to you. Now, karmic relationships. This is a very, very strong term, and I know it has been used a lot in the media to describe the state of some relationships. Now, the bottom line word in karmic is the word karma. So to understand a karmic relationship, one really has to have some understanding of karma. And karma is not as straightforward as 1 + 1 = 2. It is also not that complicated, but it requires a very, very deep understanding of the various layers of our soul. Now, karma is not 1 + 1 = 2. It's not just because you do something bad in your last life. In this life, you will face the repercussions of that. It may not happen for many, many lifetimes in that way. It's not as straightforward as, you did something good in your last life and therefore you're rewarded. It is a much deeper energetic concept. Yes, in a very basic sense, yes, if you do good, the energy status is empowered, right? And just because you're more empowered, incidentally, you attract a lot more in your life and you just feel good. It's the complete opposite if you do not so great things. I mean, not nice people, it looks like they're winning in life, but you can also see many signs of things happening to them inside that may not be what you want to carry. So look at these little energetic effects that are taking place in people's lives that show up as karmic. A karmic relationship, defined by karma, refers to our karma setup. Now, a soul is beyond the plane of what me and you know life to be. A soul exists in a different dimension, and it processes this life through us. So what I mean by it is completely outside of our domain is that in the dimension of a soul, there are no rules. There is no, you must get married, you must have children, you must get an education, you must make money. There's none of these things because these are beliefs that have been formed in our existence. As you know, 10,000 years ago, the idea of money never existed. 15,000 years ago, the idea of getting married never existed. These are new concepts. So soul is outside of all our possible humanistic beliefs. That is why if you've heard any of the Vedas and the scriptures being spoken about by enlightened gurus, they will explain that the deities, the gods and the goddesses, they are depicted as male and female in that body, holding whatever they are, just so that the human layman, our mind, can understand what they are meant to represent. Because they can only be understood by us in a three-dimensional framework. These energies are outside of our normal three-dimensional setup. So it's the same for a soul. When these energies work with us, they're working at our soul level. They're working on a different dimension that then works on us through our physical body, our mind, to be able to engage in this world. Now, karma, right? Karma is not the 1 + 1 = 2. it is a dharmic concept. And by dharma, I'm not talking about your life purpose, which is not the right concept of what dharma is. Dharma is ethics. It is the mathematics of the universe. It's how things work across all dimensions. And it is your role in maintaining that dharma that becomes pivotal when it comes to karma. So, for example, if at some level you have a belief that hurting yourself is a good thing, right? That's your belief. And then you hurt yourself, your soul will take that as something good that you've done. So your frame of mind decides your karma. Your frame of beliefs decides your karma, which is why there's so much emphasis today on overcoming your limited beliefs. If your belief is that harming yourself is not a good thing, and then you harm yourself for whatever reason, to please someone else, to impress someone, for whatever reason you might choose to harm yourself, then you are creating karma against yourself. Do you see how that works? So to understand a karmic relationship, you've really got to understand karma. You've really got to understand your beliefs, your ideas around life, your ideas around how things are. And most of your beliefs have come from the people you grew up with, the environment you grew up in, the city you grew up in. Remember, there are cities in the world where women get married at the age of 18 and no one says anything. It's normal. And there are parts of the world where women get married at the age of 40 and that's considered normal. Anything before that is not normal. So these are just beliefs. There is no right and wrong to any of this. So understanding your karma really comes down to your relationship with yourself, your beliefs, your ideas, your perception of the universe. What you then think of after you've engaged in whatever action with any relationship, whether it's a lover, a child, a husband, your parents, your friends, and any relationship is totally dependent on your ideas. Okay, now, what are 3 indicators that you might be in a karmic relationship? Okay, so the first one. Now, if you feel deeply drawn to someone for whatever reason, things go really fast and you're like, I have this amazing connection, I just can't believe how we get along so well, and then one day you turn around and you ask yourself, how is it that I got together with this person? Because the truth is, I don't have anything in common with them. I don't really know them the way I thought I did. I feel like whoever they are has nothing to do with who I am. Like, how did I get into this relationship in the first place? That would have happened when you were not being your true grounded self. You were escaping, you were trying to prove a point to someone, you were trying to build a reality to prove something to somebody else. Maybe you were people pleasing, you were operating from trauma. And one day, that role of that person to break the mask, the trauma, for you to rise above that, reaches the point where you finally realize that you are not that person. You are much bigger than that. That is a karmic relationship. It is hard, right? Because in many cases, such relationships mean your time with each other has come to an end. They have done their work and they have moved you to a higher level. It does become easier when you stop thinking of all of these ideals that we've been led to believe, that things need to be a certain way, everything needs to, have like everybody has to have children and there has to be 3 children and then you have to, be married forever regardless of how much pain there is. And if you rise above all these concepts, because they are just human concepts, and you look at your life from that perspective, it does get easier. Because the soul is completely free at its original level. But to get to that level of freedom, you've got to take accountability for all the actions that you've done on those beliefs that you took on. It is a long journey, but it is so worth it. The second thing that will give you an idea that you're in a karmic relationship is when you're with someone, whether a parent, a friend, a child, a lover, but both of you have completely different views on something. And that belief system that you both have causes so much tension and it's irreconcilable. That is karmic because it's forcing you both to create a whole new reality outside of that belief system. It's forcing you to break your beliefs if you want to stay together and come to a point where you both can see eye to eye, and it means rising above whatever beliefs you may have had. For example, if two people are married with different religious backgrounds, there'll be very different ideas around certain things. However, they will have to find a third way that makes them both really happy. So it's not a compromise, it's actually a lot of self-work that helps them to rise above their existing beliefs, almost to create a whole new belief system that works for the two of them in a really happy, powerful way. You will know you're at that stage because you really are no longer triggered by your beliefs not being respected by the other side, the old beliefs, and the other side no longer being triggered by your beliefs as well. So it's a peaceful state with a whole new belief system that's been created, and you've risen above the karma. So I see that in a lot of people that come to see me when they have irreconcilable differences with parents, a lot with children. The children are just triggered all the time and they want to do their own thing and they want to they get carried away with all of that. These are karmic. They're karmic tendencies that have come from the past that have never been resolved, and they're looking for resolve. They're looking for freedom in this life. Okay? And the third one, the third indicator of a karmic setup is, of course, your astrology birth chart. It is quite clear based on Rahu Ketu placements, your seventh house, the placements of Saturn and Mars. These placements will give someone a really good idea of the relationships, your love relationships, your romantic relationships, and even your ancestral relationships. Pitru dosh, matru dosh, which is your father, your father trauma baggage, your mom side trauma baggage that may be impacting your life today. This can all be seen in an astrology birth chart, and there are remedies, there are things you can do to heal that karmic baggage. But even without going to see an astrologer, if you feel at some level that your partner in this life mirrors certain disagreements, certain patterns from your parents, if they remind you of certain things with your parents, it is quite likely that that is the karmic baggage I'm talking about. Because ancestral beliefs, they look for closure in future generations. They look for freedom. Ultimately, the soul is wanting to be free. It doesn't recognize, the need for relationships to free us. It's just actually looking for whatever energy blocks there are to be open, to be free, to be flowing. And why relationships are where it's at, any kind of relationship, is because the energy is so dense. There's so many karmic bonds, there's so many ties, and it is so deep that it takes quite a lot of work to unravel all of that. It is beautiful. So I find this extremely sacred because when two souls come together, it is not that they are meant to be together or, there's something romantic, something, like a soulmate or something like that outside of it. These terms have been coined, and with all due respect, I do believe they have caused a lot of distress for a lot of people because they think they need to be with that soulmate person or that twin soul person, and they need to do whatever it takes to reach that stage of peace with them. I disagree. For me, the soul is a unit that you fall in love with, and you do whatever it takes to generate the energy that this soul is here to free itself from, to live happily and peacefully. And whoever it is that comes into your life to raise this soul is a gift. Honor that gift. Make it as sacred as you can and thank them when the job is done. The teachers that you had in school, when you were primary school, your friends from primary school, whoever they were, they're not in your life anymore. Whatever they were here to do for you, they've done, and it's over. And there's many people like this we meet that change our lives forever without us realizing, and without us needing to have a deep connection with them. Your taxi driver, that few minutes of talking to someone sometimes completely changes your life. There's so much in this world that we look beyond that's actually giving us a purification, a cleanse. So I hope that was helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions regarding your karmic relationships. If you would like some information on how I can help with anything, please have a look at the captions, and please like, comment, and subscribe if you found my content helpful. I hope you have a lovely day. Please look out for my future workshops. I'll be doing workshops on guided meditations, especially for women and men to connect with their inner femininity, as well as future lives that I'm currently working on to do with live meditations that you can tap into to clear any energy blocks that you may be having. Watch this space. See you soon, everyone.